This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks. I have the pleasure of having my friend Samer from ZEEL on demand on Halo Talks live for our listening audience. Samer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pete. Wonderful to be here.
So you've been a serial entrepreneur, had many successes, and several years ago you decided that there was an opportunity here in the wellness services space. And why don't you just talk about your background and then the team that you built, and then we're going to talk about the big opportunity that we're both working on together, which I'm excited about being a part of.
Yeah, me too. I hail from Fresno, California, Central Valley, farm town. I went to Stanford undergrad and grad. I'm an engineer by training. I became a business guy, and I started my first internet company in 1997, Vault.com, job site for college, law school, and business school kids.
I used it.
Great business, profitable. We sold it in 2007 to a private equity firm, stayed on for a little bit. And then I was involved in campusfood.com, which we sold to Grubhub, Get Made, which we sold to Homejoy and then Google, and now ZEEL. And my co-founders and I, one of whom is my wife, Allison Harmelin, the other one's a Vault co-founder, Ed Shen, we saw this opportunity to do on-demand massage therapy to the home to start. Massage is incredibly difficult to book. It's hard to find somebody good. And it turns out that most people want a massage on demand, which means within 4 hours of start time. So we book 81% of our appointments same day, and we can get to you in as little as 1 hour. And we've got amazing therapists.
That's great. So I worked on the original Massage Envy deal. When that deal got done, there was questions related to what's the unit economics, how are you going to produce the type of volume, can you get people on a recurring membership as a health club membership, which I know ZEEL's kind of moved more towards a recurring subscription model.
Right.
So as you look at the market and you say, okay, massage, there might be something attached to like, oh, I'm getting a massage because, I want to get some stress relief, or, I just did a workout. But there's a lot of people that are actually focused on massage for chronic pain, for medical conditions. So talk about the mix of the types of people you're helping, because this isn't just a luxury service.
This isn't just pampering, sitting by the pool, taking Instagram photos with Kim Kardashian, although we have those use cases, but those are under a quarter of the use cases. The vast majority, almost 3/4, are medically related. So you have doctor's prescription for back pain, neck pain. For those orders, people are using an HSA or FSA card on ZEEL to pay for those appointments with pre-tax dollars, which is really cool. You've got people telling us they have fibromyalgia. They need to, relieve some post-workout pain. They need to get more limber. They've got, post-cancer treatment. So a lot of medical pain management type of issues. And then we have a B2B business. So we bring massage and other related recovery services, as they're called, to companies as part of their wellness program. And the reason the companies are bringing us there, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, most often once a month, is to relieve stress, tension, tech neck, back pain from sitting at your desk all day. So there's a real health benefit to the massage therapy that we're providing, whether it's the home, hotel room, hospital, workplace, gym, or wherever else the customer is ordering it, and whether he's paying for it himself or the company's paying for it.
Yeah. So as you look at the size of the market, obviously Massage Envy, now owned by Roar Capital, big company. Hand and Stone, big company owned by Levine Leichman at a very high multiple purchase price. You got WellBiz that's out there that's owned by KSL. So you see all these like traditional businesses that are out there that people need to go and need to book an appointment. Whereas the on-demand, and we're living in an on-demand world, you basically have kind of leapfrogged into connecting the therapist directly with the consumer or the therapist directly with the company. So it's almost like the total addressable market is kind of almost undefined because you're really creating more opportunities than actually existed. So how do you think about that?
We're actually not even stealing share from those guys. We're creating brand new share. Because every customer we get tells us he or she may even already have a membership to those places, but they're using us while traveling. They're using us late at night. 70% of our appointments occur in the evening, right? When all these places are closed. 15% of our customers are on a subscription, like you said, very similar to the Massage Envies of the world. It's a monthly massage subscription, and they generate 50% of our in-home revenue. Most of our companies are on subscription. So 55% of our revenue now is due to subscriptions.
So as you look at the massage industry and you say, okay, we're in the preventative health, right? We're in the workout recovery. There is a pampering component. Obviously, back pain is probably the largest issue that people have.
Back and neck pain.
Right.
Big time.
So as you kind of look at all those and you say, okay, I've spent, the Series A and the Series B round basically creating a brand name and also taking the time for the sales and marketing into the business channel. And as we know, when you're talking about healthcare companies, you're talking about hospitals, you're talking about employee, wellness programs, like it takes a while to get into those accounts. So kind of where do you feel like you are in the indoctrination of like, hey, this is kind of part of what you get as an employee benefit.
Right.
And here's like standard parts of the healthcare plan.
I mean, we're still in the early innings, right? Because we launched in Manhattan first, then we expanded to broader New York City. Then we launched in LA, then San Francisco. Earlier this year, we launched in Denver, Dallas, Houston. So we really have 6 core cities that we're in. And this is a very hyper-local business. Think about Massage Envy. They have almost 1,400 units. You gotta think of this business as zip code by zip code. The difference between us and a Massage Envy is that we do cater to our subscription customer while he or she's traveling. And we do have the corporate business, which they don't, which is a very exciting business with even higher margins. But at the end of the day, we're still very early days here. So we just built out our sales force. We hired the top guy at care.com to build out a whole sales team and put in systems about 12 months ago. So he's just getting off to the races here, signing big contracts like we just did with Hyatt, 138 hotel deal to be in every Hyatt without a spa, powering in-room massage, which is super exciting. And ultimately, they're going to integrate our app into their app. We just got Venus Williams to sit on our board last 2 months ago. We just announced that position 2 weeks ago. So she's off to the races, helping us, blow up the brand and get into more sports and recovery types of therapies. So it's early. We're very excited. This is going to be a huge business.
That's great. So, as you go around and you get more and more of these companies to start to install ZEEL as part of their employee benefit program, what do you see as the retention rate there? What are massage therapists making as, versus what they would make in kind of like a volume shop of a Massage Envy? Because what intrigues me about the business, it's kind of a win-win-win for everybody involved. Like the massage therapist making more money, corporations able to get on-demand qualified people. You've got your safety check and security, and you've got the ability now to create an ecosystem, not even a marketplace, because I don't view it as a marketplace. I mean, you're really creating a large business here that has now a pipeline into these opportunities that is much bigger than just massage. So how do you think about that?
Well, first to the question of recurrence. So 15% of the consumers on subscription, about 22% of the companies right now are on a subscription. And between those, they're generating over half of the revenue of the company. And I think once you're on subscription, the retention is really good because people need to take care of themselves on a regular basis. And most of it right now is monthly. In terms of the economics, the average massage therapist in the United States makes $43 per massage hour. The average therapist on the ZEEL platform makes $81 per massage hour, the highest absolute dollars in the industry. So
you're getting the best people.
We're getting the best people, and all they ever say is, give me more work. So in places like New York and San Francisco, LA, where we're pretty deeply penetrated, but again, still early, those markets could be 10x bigger than we're currently at. In those markets, they're getting a lot of work and they're dumping other work to take our work. In the other markets, we're building up the demand, so the supply is jumping on and taking whatever it can. But ultimately, we're going to be able to give them a lot more work, and we're going to mop up all the best therapists. I'm convinced.
Gotcha. And then from a standpoint of, this on-demand economy where you've got Uber and Lyft drivers, you've got Peloton doing their thing, how do you view the autonomy and freedom that a massage therapist or a stretching specialist or, go down all the, facials and everything else that could potentially go down this channel, what have you done to ensure the safety, the security, when they get paid, all those things
right.
about the business model. That's not just like, hey, I'm going to compete, with ZEEL. It's like, well, you better think about
you better think about all the extra benefits,
Yeah.
right? You could make a little bit more money per hour on your own, but what are you missing out on? We're doing all the marketing, right? We're building a brand. On the safety and trust piece, trust and safety, we are IDing every single consumer. We have all these databases in the back end checking for fraud and other sort of items to make sure that if Pete Moore is ordering, it's really Pete Moore. Mm-hmm. And we're telling you it's a legitimate massage business. So, expect a professional therapist who's licensed, background checked. So we also ensure, on the other side, we tell the consumer, you're getting somebody well vetted.
Right.
So there's great trust and safety systems. You're paying by credit card. No cash is changing hands. We're ensuring, that you're as safe as possible. If anything should happen, even as little as, hey, you got lotion on my couch, what are you going to do? You got this trusted big company behind it, so we take care of you. We can refund you, we can fix your stuff, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So you can't do that on your own as a therapist. So it's a very good platform in that respect.
Gotcha. So, I understand the B2C business, it's pretty clear and well thought out. And, there it's just a matter of what's the customer acquisition cost? How do I get people on a subscription? Just like any other, recurring revenue business.
Yeah, just like any other business. You build the top of the funnel. You get the word out as cost effectively as possible. We're generally acquiring people for $100 or less. We're making $45 in gross margin on the first appointment. So as soon as we get people on subscription, we're making money. For the people who only try us once, we obviously lose some money. But in the overall scheme of things, we've been making historically 3-to-1 in 3 years on every single customer, even on the one-timers, because we just average them all into the deal.
So let's flip over and talk about the healthcare industry in general. And I think, they're always, slow to adopt anything that's not a prescription medication or actually
or a
coming in.
hospitalization or something like that.
Yeah. So talk about, what you're doing with Northwell. Talk about some of these other, insurance companies that are starting to finally understand, okay, look, I can bring you in. I've vetted you. You've obviously got the therapist, you've got the safety and security, and now I want to actually spend money before someone comes in to do an operation or to have some kind of issue with their back. I'm going to prevent it.
Or heck, even taking opioids, which we know now are a hugely costly, sort of item here. So this is a class of issues called musculoskeletal injuries, and the healthcare companies and employers are spending a fortune on it. So it's back pain, neck pain, it's workers' comp issues, and traditionally it's surgery, opioids, PT that is being spent, and the healthcare companies are waking up to the idea that there's a preventative piece in the form of massage therapy, assisted stretching, yoga. So the contract we've signed with Northwell Health is to bring massage and yoga to the home of patients with back pain to test the efficacy of our treatments relative to surgery and opioids. Hugely exciting. One of the first sort of studies of its kind. The money we're getting from Cigna is to bring massage and yoga and other recovery services to companies to alleviate some of the employee sort of tension and other issues and hopefully lower premiums over time. So they're finally waking up to the fact that these modalities, traditionally called alternative health care, actually are cost effective and preventative.
Right. How do you feel about when's the tipping point when alternative becomes primary?
Well,
are we getting there?
As soon as possible, right? I think our timing's perfect. We're at an inflection point, and ZEEL is going to ride this wave and be a huge player in this preventative and alternative healthcare therapy movement.
So when you look at the competitors, and we've done some work, and there's really no one at the size or scale of ZEEL. So what talk about your management team, talk about the people that you've recently added, talk about, the depth of the technology, just so, there really is a moat around this business as far as I'm concerned.
We're building a moat, yeah, for sure. And our team is excellent. As so many VCs have recently said, you built a hell of a team that's sort of punching above its weight right now in terms of where you're at. But it's perfect timing because as you scale, this is the team you want. So we've got a CTO from IAC. We've got a CPO from FanDuel and Zynga. We have a head of marketing from Amex and Airbnb. We've got a homegrown COO, head of people. We're looking for a CFO right now. We've got several good candidates through the search firm, so that's about to get placed. But otherwise, we've got a full, beautiful team here. And we have the guys I said earlier from Care.com who built out their entire B2B business, now building out our B2B business.
That's great. So back in 2007, 2008, I was helping a group buy Massage Envy. And a number of people said, well, no one's going to stay on that. That's like a fad. No one's going to pay a monthly subscription to stay on that. That's when they had 200 locations. Now they're up to 1,500 locations. So what are some of the things that you hear from some of the naysayers or people that maybe don't have a good lens into where the future is? I think you and I kind of see what's around the corner. Yeah. Might not be completely evident, but to me, it shines a bright light on like, look, this is going to be services to the home, to the workplace, on demand. What are some of the things that people say to you? You're like, look, I can't necessarily like give you all the data, but let me just tell you kind of where this is trailing.
Well, people are saying, one, hey, is massage just a luxury, sort of nice to have product? That famous, is it aspirin or is it a vitamin that VCs talk about? It's traditionally been a vitamin, something that's nice to have, but it's changing. People are recognizing that the more they do things like massage, the more they can prevent injury, the more stress and tension they can reduce. And as the healthcare plans and employers start to subsidize, right, people will just buy it more. It's kind of like PT. PT has blown up in the last 10 years since, New York and other states made it direct to consumer, made it more unlimited, didn't require a doctor's prescription. I think that's where massage is headed, massage and assisted stretching. So that's part of it. The other one is that sometimes the VCs will say, well, is it recession proof? I say nothing's quite recession-proof, but we had a recession about 10 years ago, and the spa industry and massage held up really well. In fact, volume stayed relatively steady, partially through discounting, but overall, it was very surprising that people continued to get their massages. And in fact, Massage Envy really blew up during this time frame. So I just say the naysayers, the trends are in our favor. We're still, a relatively small company, so you have a chance to get in on the ground floor, and we're at an inflection point, and we now have Venus to help us build the brand, and we have an Amex partnership. They're doing direct mailers out to all these great customers. That partnership is doing amazingly well, so we're going to do it in more cities.
So as you look at the, right now you're at a gross market value of massage at around $40 million. I think is your
for
annual?
Us, yeah. Our annual this year will be just over $40 million.
Right, so you're doing $40 million. You've done over 1 million massages.
Yep, earlier this year.
And, as you look at what you've seeded the market, whether it's the Hyatt deal, and I want to talk about that, or whether some of the healthcare services deal, or some of the inbound calls that you're getting now, where do you feel like you are kind of like on the seesaw of like, look, I made all this investment in the brand. I made all this investment in these long cycle sales accounts, and like it really hasn't kind of tipped over yet to actually fulfill the services. So what does the next 12 months look like for ZEEL?
Well, after we raise this round, we're out now raising $25 million in a Series C. We've got a plan to go deeper in our current 6 cities and launch 5 more. And that's all we're going to do for the next 12 to 15 months, and just keep building the brand in those cities and executing on those B2B contracts we've already signed. That alone over the next 15 to 18 months should double the size of the business. So it's really about execution and just staying laser focused and keeping our burn relatively low.
Got it. So when you look at, let's take Hyatt as an example, which I think is a great kind of bellwether for the industry, where people come to a hotel and they either expect that that there just happens to be massage therapists just hanging out in a spa area, that Hyatt's now paying, at least some hourly wage to, because that's the laws in some of the states, and probably going to be all the states, that if somebody's here, you got to pay them. Versus the model of, hey, look, we've got a service powered by ZEEL, and we can have somebody, in our massage room, or directly to your room,
in as little as 1 hour.
Yeah. So how is that kind of, obviously the economics for a hotel, which has gone from like the spa being a cost center to now the spa effectively being a profit center on a rev share with ZEEL. What are some of the things that Hyatt's doing, from a marketing standpoint directly to their hotel guests, but also like what is it? How do you feel about like what that kind of represents as like a potential opportunity?
Well, the Hyatt deal is very exciting because 30% of hotels have spas, but 70% don't. So we actually have two Hyatt deals. So the deal with the 58 hotels at Hyatt that have a spa, we're augmenting their staffing. And to your point, the spa is now a profit center. So we're white labeling our staff, and they're now servicing more guests, making more money. The other part of the Hyatt deal, which captures the 70% of hotels that do not have spas, is that those 138 hotels are now powered by ZEEL, and they're putting menus in the rooms and building other collateral. We just launched the first 3 hotels with them. We're going to launch all of them in 12 months, and they're ultimately going to integrate our app into the Hyatt app. And that's a game changer for the industry because now you can offer an amenity in a hotel that does not have a spa and bring it right to the room. And every single order is profit. They're going to make about $40 to $50 of profit on every single order because it's all on demand in as little as 1 hour. And you put it on your room bill, by the way.
Got it. So as you look at that deal and you say, okay, from the ability to provide the massage therapist, which is, a key asset of the business, giving them a significant amount of volume, then you've got a hotel that's basically saying, hey, look, I'm actually putting no overhead towards this.
Right.
So this is just a
little marketing, overhead to stimulate demand. But other than that, every order is on demand. It's all revenue to the hotel with profit.
And what are some of the other services that you think could go down this channel once this is proven out?
I mean, there probably isn't a limit, right? There's skincare, so skincare, wellness, facials. There's yoga, which we're already testing with Northwell Health. There's PT potentially. There's acupuncture. Our customers also ask for hair, makeup, and lots of other beauty services, which is another form of wellness.
Sure.
So there's a lot of leverage that we can put on this platform. We have to be smart about which services and which types of providers, but there's a lot. So the next immediate ones are the assisted stretching we're testing right now in Manhattan, and the yoga and mindfulness classes we're doing with a couple dozen employers right now also in a test.
Gotcha. And then when you take a look at some of the corporations that you're going into, and then you got 3-hour minimum, so your massage therapists are actually making, don't have to travel around as much
and typically don't have to bring equipment. We typically have equipment on site for them, so they're making at least 3 hours in a row of money. And a lot of these are recurring contracts, like we said, so they also know that they've got a gig, say, every Thursday afternoon for the next 52 weeks. That's very empowering to a therapist, right? Because 65% of therapists are 1099ers and always were, even before ZEEL. And they're filing Schedule C on their tax return, and they want to make as much money as possible, and the ZEEL platform allows them to.
Gotcha. So, as you look at the next cities that you're going to launch into, you've already seeded those markets with professionals
We've
here.
seeded 100 markets in the last 3 years to get ready to launch. And we're going to launch the next 5 next year post the Series C.
Gotcha. And then from, looking at the profitability and the contribution margin in the cities that you're currently in, obviously you just scratched the surface there, but, how do you think about, ramping and what the road to contribution margin, profitability, break-even analysis, like how do you guys think about that?
Well, we look at it on a contribution margin basis, which is defined as gross revenue minus therapist pay, minus all the cost of goods, minus all the direct marketing in that city. So New York, San Francisco, LA are generating profits based on that definition. Denver, Dallas, Houston are not currently, but are headed there. So already the burn in those cities has come down since we launched them 9 months ago. And we'll do the same with the other cities. And it will even make sense to put every dollar of contribution margin back into those cities to make them even bigger and more profitable in the long run.
And then the last question, as you think about the growth of the business and you think about where the market's going to be in the next 3 to 5 years, there's probably a number of companies that, whether you decide, okay, look, I'm going to take this. This is a public company at some point where you're basically the largest wellness
I would love
services.
to take it public.
Yeah, so that's one potential exit or path to greatness, and then the other is you've got a lot of these companies that are incented to provide these services and might say, hey, look, I'd like to put this under our umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. Think about the partners we have now. Hotel chain could want this business. The other marketplaces that are being built out there, even the recently public ones like Peloton, right? They might want to add this business as an extension to their business. The healthcare plans themselves, as you know, are branching out into retail and direct to consumer themselves. So they might want to add our business. And I think there's many others. There's just a wealth of potential acquirers for a business like this, especially when we get it profitable, which we're already marching toward.
Right. And then as you think about the marketplace and like the scalability of the business model, you're obviously making a capital investment into each one of these new cities. That capital investment is, you don't have the luxury of capitalizing that on your balance sheet. So you're basically like every dollar you spend is an expense into a new market. So, once you get to a point where you're headed, where you've got an additional 5 cities, it's really a question of where the management team wants to take the business, where you continue to go deeper. Do you continue to go into the B2B side? Are these huge healthcare contracts that may be available? So how do you think about kind of balancing all of those potential opportunities?
I think at some point in the next roughly 18 months, we project that we'll be making enough contribution margin on all our cities that we've got a break even to profitable business. And then it's just a matter of reinvesting those profits into the business. And the only reason you'd go out and raise more money is if you just wanted to grow even faster in a very sort of strategic way. And, you would do that. So, yeah, if we see opportunities to sign more healthcare contracts or add more cities and it makes sense from an ROI perspective, we'll do it. If we want to be more conservative, we'll just take our, contribution margin and just plow only that amount back into the business and just run the business break even. So I think we'll have a lot of paths open to us post this C raise.
That sounds good. Well, it was great getting the time to chat with you here, educate people on what's going on in the on-demand wellness services platform.
Love being at Halo Talks.
You heard it here first. ZEEL, and ZEEL.com.
Thank you, Pete.
Samer, pleasure.
Thank you.
Good to see you.